Now, a picture paints 1,000 words, we know that. So what about a picture of some of the world's most famous rock stars? What tales these pictures tell? Well, Danny Clifford is a photographer who's had access to musicians that most of us can only ever dream about meeting, and his new exhibit is full of never-before-seen pictures. Andy's here. Good to see you.
Good morning.
And it's worth pointing out, these are not just never-seen-before pictures for us, but for you as well.
Some of them are, yeah. Some of them I just discovered when I was going through the archive a couple of months ago. You know, some are just... yeah, I've got a lot. So to go through them all, there's about 4 million in total. So,
oh, wow.
In fact, it's a bit more than that. But,
and I know the stories are important. Can we have a look at this one of Freddie?
Yeah.
Talk us through this, because I'm a huge Queen fan.
Yeah, aren't we all? That particular moment was, I think, the very hot summer of 1976, and I was creeping around backstage at the Queen concert in Hyde Park and just saw a little commotion. The band were about to go on, and I saw some lights under the stage and wandered down the back of and under the stage and over the scaffolding, and there he was. And I walked up to him and said, who are you? And he said, Freddie. Who are you? So I said, Danny. He said, nice to meet you. So I said, nice to meet you. What are you doing? He said, well, I'm, you know, going on stage. So I said, where are you going? He said, up there. So I said, can we do some photos? He said, of course you can, dear boy.
Yeah.
So I took about 5, 6, 7 pictures, and then I heard the band crack into the start of Bohemian Rhapsody, and up he went. So I went round the front and photographed the show, which was great, with a couple of other photographers.
Oh, so he was on like a trapdoor
He was
thing?
up in the middle of the stage. Apparently it's on YouTube, you know, of him coming up on stage, then straight into Bohemian Rhapsody. But that was a great moment to meet. He was so lovely to meet him.
How did you get that sort of access, though?
Well, I wasn't given it.
Yes, that's what I'm alluding to.
Back in those days, my modus operandi tended to be walking in somewhere, you know, oh, look, there's an eagle, in I go that way, and then they say, who are you? I say, I'm with the band, and then the band would say, who are you? I say, I'm your photographer, and they go, all right, then.
Yeah.
It was a bit like that, you know, we're talking about 500 years ago, so...
But you had a lot of bottle, because you started doing all of this when you were only 13.
Yeah, I know. Getting a little bus into London and going into the Rainbow Theatre and getting thrown straight out after a couple of frames, you know. It was funny, but great, you know, it teaches you quite a bit to... you know.
There's an interesting story behind this one, a connection that most people will
it's
not
really,
have a clue about.
Really unusual. I'll try and make it brief. I spent many a time with Shane, who's lovely and very intelligent, very well read. Shane MacGowan from the Pogues.
Yeah.
I spent an evening a night with him in London in a pub, and about 4 a.m. I said, I've got to go. Shane loves a drink, a pint of gin at a time. I like Perrier, and I said, look, I've got to go. So I went home. A few weeks later, I was driving back from Liverpool after leaving another band I was with, and I was trying to think, what did he just say to me a few weeks ago? And I was just trying to recall it, and it was, he'd said to me, and he's not a liar, Shane, he said, you know, we were talking about the Spanish Civil War, and he was educating me about lots of things. He said, my cousin was Che Guevara. So I said, who? How much? He said, Che Guevara. So I said, really? So I made...
Serious?
Yep. So I made a few phone calls to his family and friends and everybody. And his mother's name is Lynch, the Lynch family from Ireland. Che Guevara was Che Guevara Lynch. And they emigrated to Argentina in blah, blah, blah. And they're distant cousins. So I said... So driving back from Liverpool, I immediately phoned my wife and said, get the kids ready, we're going out for a quick Chinese meal, which I hadn't really... Stopped at Camden Market, bought a beret, Red Star, belt with buckle, you know, with bullets on it. Knew where Shane was in London, phoned and said, I'm on my way. And I did a photo shoot, said, you are now Shane Guevara. Got him out of bed in the afternoon, did the picture. He was
so happy to do it.
Yeah, of course, you know, just a funny...
It's great, because it's not just about fantastic pictures that you've captured, but a great picture of you, actually, that Bob Dylan took.
Yes. Have I changed?
Not much.
Yeah, I was going to...
It's a shame you've lost the perm.
Well, it wasn't a perm, but I should have brought in a little blonde wig today. But that was on my first Bob Dylan tour, which I got onto when I was 20, and that was on his private jet. And, yeah, he took that with my camera. And that was a very surreal time on that first flight, me thinking, how did I get on this tour?
That is fantastic.
I know, it's funny.
Fantastic.
Funny.
Look, when's this exhibition on?
Well, it's on now. It's in North London, Hampstead. So it's on until the 11th of April, every day. And it's wonderful. It's been curated by the most brilliant curator, Alexander Rosenberg. And limited edition prints are available as well, but it's a very, very unusual... It's in a church, and it is incredibly different. I mean, we've got Liam Gallagher up high and Mick Jagger up there from the Stones tours, and it's a lot of wonderful picture,
Sounds
if I can say
brilliant.
so.
Danny, thank you so much for sharing with
Pleasure.
us all those pictures never seen before.
Pleasure.
Love the
Thank
picture
you.
of Fred.